Our home is our haven where we feel safe, but sometimes it can be a dangerous place. A brilliant student's hateful thoughts turn lethal.
She had a semi-automatic carbine that was completely loaded.
A woman desperate for love won't let children get in her way.
There is no way Ellen didn't know the horrible agony those children were suffering.
And a young chef cooks up a plan to eliminate her vulnerable neighbor.
There was nothing psychologically wrong with her. She was just pure, downright evil.
When these deadly women look for targets, they don't look far. They are too close for comfort. Graduating from college is an accomplishment for any young person, but 22-year-old Malaya Griffin doesn't just graduate from a Mississippi university in 1993. She does it with honors.
She was a very educated woman. She had gone to college Jackson State University, graduated cum laude.
The science scholar likes to keep to herself. Her classmates think Malaya's just shy.
Malaya Griffin was a quiet person, well-educated, kept to herself, was a bit of a loner.
But no one knows what lurks beneath the surface. Malaya travels after college, but finally settles down 6 years later in Denver, Colorado, where she gets a job in a pharmacy.
She was a good worker. She was quiet, but hardworking. She always showed up to work early, worked hard, pretty much kept to herself, didn't cause any problems at work.
Traveling for years has been costly, so she settles down in a rundown neighborhood. Malaya finds a room to rent next door to 25-year-old Jason Horsley and his girlfriend, Deborah Losell.
He was just a nice, quiet kid. He was from Sheridan, Wyoming.
He had been living in his home with his fiancée, Deborah Losell, for about 2 years. He moved to Colorado because he was interested in the diversity of a bigger city.
The couple's first home is a real fixer-upper, a perfect opportunity for carpenter Jason to make some money.
I believe it had been a former crack house. The neighborhood was in transition. I think his intent was to fix up the house, flip it, sell it, and then move on and buy another house and continue to do that same thing.
Jason and Deborah don't have children, but their 2 dogs are very much part of their family. But the dogs drive Malaya Griffin barking mad.
Shut up!
Dogs. There was disagreement over the dogs coming out into the yard area. Miss Griffin felt that they should keep the dogs inside.
Everyday disputes between neighbors are usually easy to resolve.
Can I help you? Shut those dogs
But
up.
not this one.
I know that there were confrontations between his girlfriend, Jason's girlfriend, Deborah, and Malaya.
Dogs up or I'll kill them.
I know that the dogs had barked, and she told him she didn't like dogs, and if she couldn't control her dogs, she would kill the dogs.
Come on, be reasonable. You've been
They're
warned.
being serious. They're just being dogs.
Threatening to kill someone's dogs is a rather serious sign. It should have been reported to the police, and it definitely should have been taken serious by anyone that heard it.
Malaya vents her frustrations in her diary. It paints a picture of a woman angry, not just with her neighbors, but with all white people.
She had written a lot of words and expletives, and most of them were rants about why she hated white people. She said that there should be a revolution, that sisters needed to unite and rise up and kill white males.
Malaya didn't have friends. She had her thoughts and her diary. And it escalated until she exploded.
May 18th, 1999. Carpenter Jason Horsley has had a long day at work. He begins his nightly ritual.
It was his practice to clean his equipment and then put it back in his truck, arrange it for the next day so that he could be ready to go. Miss Griffin came out, confronted him, told him to clean it up, put it away, that he shouldn't be doing that, and began to yell at him. She felt it was disrespecting her to unload his property in front of her home onto the grass and sidewalk.
It's reported that Malaya was angry at Jason for sorting out his tools on the sidewalk. The truth of the matter is, Malaya was looking for a fight. Anything Jason would have done was bound to set her off.
Jason's girlfriend, Deborah, gets involved.
What is going on here?
I've had it with you people.
It escalated when Miss Loisel came out, and Miss Griffin began to kick Mr. Horsley's tools and equipment on the ground. And the argument really was between Miss Loisel and Miss Griffin at that point.
You know what? I'm gonna call the police on you.
Oh, I don't do prison.
Put your hand in my face.
You stay there.
The threat of police involvement is a turning point.
Malaya went into her house, Deborah went back into her house, and Jason went back into his truck to unload his tools.
Jason and Deborah think the argument is over. But it's not. Disputes aren't uncommon among neighbors, but this one in Denver, Colorado, in May 1999, is extreme.
What is this stuff
what's going on?
doing out the front of my house? I'm moving.
Jason Horsley and girlfriend Deborah Losell are living next to a very unreasonable woman.
Oh, what is this neighborhood now? 90210?
It culminates one night with yet another screaming match on the sidewalk.
You need to pick up this stuff and move it.
When Deborah threatens to call the police, Malaya goes back inside her house, but not to calm down.
Malaya retrieved a large caliber 9mm semi-automatic pistol with a laser sight. Malaya came back out. Jason was still out there unloading his truck, taking the tools from his truck to set on the sidewalk. There was no one else out there.
Jason?
The shot went through his left clavicle,
Jason?
through part of his lung, through part of his heart, and out the front of his chest. Ms. Loisel indicated that she came out to find Jason laying on the passenger side of his truck with the door open and his feet hanging out of the truck.
Stay with me. Just keep breathing. Keep breathing. Keep breathing. Stay with me, okay?
Jason is clinging to life, but not for long. Within 30 minutes, he is dead. Deborah is sure the shooter is her neighbor, but she's fled. police search Malaka's abandoned room and are shocked by what they find in her closet.
She didn't have any high-heeled shoes or dresses. She had a semi-automatic carbine with a 30-round magazine that was completely loaded. Further search of her room, we found in her drawers 2 hand grenades.
Malaka not only has her own arsenal, she is studying up on how to be an effective warrior.
She had some gun magazines, anarchist cookbooks, things that help you elude police, make booby traps, surveillance, those types of things.
The search reveals a side to Malaka that she's kept hidden from the world. And her diary reveals the extent of her racism.
She indicated numerous times that she was sick at looking at white people. She didn't want to be around them. She would rather have them be dead and that they should be killed.
Jason's shooting may have just been the start of Malaka's one-woman war against whites.
At any moment, she could have made a different choice. She had other options, other ways of handling the situation. She made the very deliberate choice to arm herself, come out, and shoot Mr. Horsley.
I don't think Malika snapped and decided to kill someone after Deborah threatened to call the police. I think Malika decided that before she walked out of the house and started the fight. Someone was going to die, and they were going to be white.
The real mystery is, what turns a highly successful, educated woman into a racist?
We were never able to discover any type of mistreatment of Miss Griffin by either white people or anyone for that matter. Her family didn't know that she harbored those feelings. They were as shocked as all of her friends and her coworkers.
Malaka stays on the run for 6 years, holding down pharmacy jobs. But her case is high profile, and police appeals on a TV show lead to a colleague recognizing her.
The tip that came from San Diego was exactly, I work with that woman, I know it's her, here's where she lives. They went over and knocked on the door. She in fact told them she was Malaya Griffin. She was taken into custody without incident.
Malaka pleads not guilty to felony murder on the grounds of self-defense.
I would think it would be a strange defense, being the man was shot in the back, point blank range, and he was unarmed, but that was the defense she used.
Her story doesn't play well with the jury. Malaka is convicted and sentenced to life without parole.
I don't think Malaya Griffin would have killed a black person. I think she killed a white person because of her anger, because of her hatred towards white people.
Malaka shows all the symptoms of a paranoid personality.
Malika was a loner, and this is a common characteristic of people with paranoid personality disorder. People that suffer from this can function at an extremely high level. Do well at school, do well at a job, but inside, their mind is a mess. She felt she needed to counterattack. If she didn't get them first, they would get her.
Some women want their Prince Charming.
She was dark. That's how I think of her heart, is dark.
No matter what it takes.
They died a slow death, a painful death.
But this story has no fairy tale ending.
Ellen Etheridge gives new meaning to the term evil stepmother.
Meridian, Bosque County, Texas. In 1912, Ellen West's future looks bleak. The 46-year-old is a penniless widow, living with her parents.
They were very, very poor. She didn't get much of an education at all, and her prospects for future were very dim.
So, Maddie, tell me what happened in town the other day.
Ellen doesn't help herself. She's not one to socialize.
She was dark, short, heavy-set, and she stayed to herself.
Ellen, honey, why don't you come join us here?
Yeah.
Why don't you start on this one? We got loads of squares left to do. Come on.
I don't want. The neighbor women said that she was sullen.
She just has her funny ways. So, Mr. Lynch, walking along.
Didn't want to, gossip with them or communicate with them.
Bang, 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 bang.
Her sister, Maddie, decides it's time for Ellen to stop sitting around. She gets her a job as a housekeeper in a very crowded house.
I need some help.
J.D. Etheridge is the proud father of 8 children and has another one on the way.
The children, from all accounts I've read, seemed to be well-behaved, well-mannered children. She had an older daughter at home also to help with house chores and the taking care of the children. It shouldn't have been too much of a burden for her.
Well, she's gonna have to rest up, but I'm sure she'll be up and around in no time.
Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you, Doctor. Thank you for everything.
J.D. soon becomes a father for the 9th time.
Look at our beautiful boy. She's lovely. She's lovely.
The new parents are thrilled.
Boy looks like his mother.
Mrs. Etheridge had the baby. The doctor was there. Everything was fine with the delivery.
But the celebrations are short-lived.
The doctor was called back the next day because Mrs. Etheridge had died.
It's okay. I'll take care of you. Yeah.
J.D. was devastated by the loss of his wife.
It'll be okay.
She was the mother of all of his children, and that meant a lot to him because his children were the world to him.
J.D. desperately needs help to care for his large family.
He wanted them cared for, but that required the presence of a new mother. So within a couple of months, he had married Ellen Etheridge and brought her in to care for his children.
It's not uncommon in those days for the housekeeper to become the new wife. But Ellen doesn't like sharing J.D. with his children.
J.D., are we going to town? J.D., you said we're going to town.
Oh, sorry, hon. They need an engine, honey.
But you promised.
Oh, no.
She felt ignored and neglected because J.D. wanted to spend all of his time taking care of his kids, making sure they were all right, and making them happy.
He did everything he could for his children, and I suppose that Ellen was really jealous because she had developed a true passion for Mr. Etheridge.
While doing her daily chores, Ellen comes up with a plan. In June 1913, within months of their marriage, Ellen mixes up a potion containing the caustic ingredient in laundry detergent, lye.
Lye is a very strong alkali. It's basically pure sodium hydroxide. When it's ingested or when it's drunk,
It basically burns you from the inside out.
She feeds the lie to 2 of JD's children.
The symptoms of lye poisoning are virtually instantaneous. The burning is going to be intense.
Pull yourself together, man. You have 2 sick boys here.
The children were vomiting, they had diarrhea, they were complaining of pain. What the doctor didn't know at the time was that they had lye inside of their bodies and it was eating them from the inside out and destroying their throat and their internal organs as it went down.
There is no way Ellen didn't know the horrible agony those 2 children were suffering as a result of her feeding them lye.
Ellen has an explanation for the children's agonizing illness.
Ellen Etheridge said that she had seen them eating green apples, but then later she said that she thought it might be diphtheria. Diphtheria was common at that time, so nothing was done.
Ellen gets away with murder, and she isn't done yet. There are 7 children left.
She already had in the back of her head that she was going to systematically eradicate all the Etheridge children so that she would have Mr. Etheridge to herself. I really believe that was her goal.
In 1913, Texan widow Ellen finally gets what she's dreamed of: another husband, father of 9, J.D. Etheridge. But she's jealous of his children.
Ellen Etheridge was a child killer. And she did it in a most horrible fashion: poison.
4 months after killing 2 of his children, Ellen sends 5-year-old Oscar and 9-year-old Dick to collect the mail with their 7-year-old sister, Pearl. Then Ellen makes up another deadly concoction, this time with arsenic.
It was a long walk to the mailbox, and they were thirsty when they got back.
Hey, cats, come on in. That's some buttermilk for you. Come on.
The cornbread and buttermilk that Ellen served to them was a special treat. This was something they really enjoyed, so she knew that she would have no problem getting them to eat it.
There you go, pal. Drink up now.
They had no idea that within that sustenance, there was also a killer. She had laced them both with arsenic. Arsenic was, once again, at that period of time, just like lye, a very common household product.
All 3 children soon complain of pain and nausea.
It's hard to imagine that one adult could inflict that on another adult, but to do it to small children is just an act of horrible evil. She'd already seen months before 2 children suffer badly, and yet she was willing to make 3 more suffer again. This is a cold-hearted woman.
4 hours after drinking Ellen's poisonous brew, both boys die.
The boys were thirstier and drank their buttermilk faster, and that's why they got so sick. The little girl didn't drink much of the buttermilk.
Says you're gonna pull through, honey. You'll be fine in the morning.
Little Pearl, because she hadn't ingested as much of it, pulled through and survived it.
In those days, child death is common, but 4 healthy children in one family dying within 4 months raise suspicions.
When the doctor came and saw what had happened to those children, he knew that Ellen was responsible. He'd seen the first 2 children die, and he was determined to make sure the truth came out and make sure that Ellen paid for her crimes and no more children died.
The doctor calls the sheriff.
They found a locked trunk under Ellen's bed. They found inside there a packet of arsenic that was hidden down among the contents of the trunk.
This wicked stepmother is a serial killer.
Once Ellen was arrested, she admitted what she had done. She also confessed to killing the first 2 children by administering lye.
One unlikely soul protests Ellen's innocence. Her loyal husband, J.D.
Throughout the whole affair, stood by her. He couldn't believe that she could do such a thing, and believed right up until the very end that she was innocent.
But the evidence is overwhelming. Ellen is convicted on 4 counts of murder and serves 18 years in prison. But did she get away with one more tragedy? The sudden death of the first Mrs. Etheridge.
The reason she might have poisoned Mrs. Etheridge is because she wanted to be the next Mrs. Etheridge.
I believe there's a chance that Ellen may have killed her husband's wife. Who was taking care of her? A woman that turns out later to be a serial killer.
What's your favorite?
Twisted love and unhealthy jealousy turned a simple woman into a child killer.
Was she so driven with her jealousy that she honestly thought that everything was going to be okay and she would finally have Mr. Etheridge to herself? Was she such an insecure person that she needed all of his attention? What is in a person's heart that they can't share love with children for their father?
I think if she hadn't been stopped there, she would have gone on and on until they were all dead.
Some women's innocent looks
This is one of the most horrific crimes that I've come across.
can mask their true nature
Melanie was easy prey.
and their deadly intent.
I couldn't believe that it was somebody so young and in the same flat.
In the countryside of Scotland in the early 1980s, Melanie Sturton has a difficult start to life. She's born with physical challenges.
What happened to your face?
Millie was born with facial paralysis and a club foot.
What's that?
The schoolyard can be a cruel place for a girl who looks different.
Which did lead to bullying at school, but apparently she even got on well with those who bullied her ultimately.
According to her mom, Susan Patrick, after being a patient as a child, Melanie grows up wanting to care for others.
She was training to be a nurse. She came back to college and she was hoping to come out as a fully trained nurse.
Melanie's moved out of her family's home. Aged 22, she gets her own apartment in the bustling city of Aberdeen.
She wanted to move away from here because she'd gotten more confidence. She was getting on really well, enjoyed it. It was safe. Well, we thought it was.
Living upstairs in the same building is 20-year-old Pamela Gourlay, another country girl.
I'm Pamela, by the way. Oh, I live upstairs. I'm Melanie.
Pamela Gourlay's upbringing, ironically, was very similar to Melanie.
See you around. I hope so.
They were both brought up in rural areas, and she too had moved into the big city after leaving school.
Pamela works as a chef in a local restaurant. Like Melanie, she's close to her family.
She seemed to be a good daughter, a good granddaughter, and lead a relatively normal life, holding down a steady job. But behind the scenes, it was a different picture altogether.
It's not like I'm the stinking rich one, you know.
Pamela keeps part of her life secret from her family. She's taking a bad cocktail of anti-anxiety medication and cannabis.
She'd obviously become embroiled in a drugs culture, smoked cannabis regularly, took a sleeping tablet that was commonly used by drug users, and got in with the wrong crowd.
Her drug habit is expensive. Pamela starts dealing drugs to make some extra cash. But any money she makes goes up in smoke. She's deeply in debt.
What?
Where's my rent money?
I'm getting paid tonight. You'll get it tomorrow.
What happened to me first thing in the morning?
All right.
What's going on in here?
None of your business. Honestly, I mean, the fact that he would even come here.
She hadn't paid her rent since moving into the bedsit. She had other debts, and this was in spite of having a fairly good job.
Pamela's heading in the wrong direction, but Melanie is thriving.
Oh, look at you, all grown up.
She was just getting on really well, enjoyed it. We used to go and meet up. We'd go shopping and things like that, but she loved it.
Melanie's mom is about to go on a vacation overseas. Before she leaves, she takes Melanie on a shopping trip with her grandmother.
We took her to the shops and went back to the car park, but she wanted to walk back. So we just gave her a kiss and she just went swinging her clothes, swinging her bags, and that was it.
October 8th, 1999. Pamela is enjoying a typical night.
Pamela had been out with friends, quite heavily involved in drugs.
Cannabis and prescription medication is a dangerous combination.
When those wear off, the person can have a rebound and their anxiety increases after the drug has been metabolized. I'm guessing Pamela was somewhat out of control.
Pamela is high and desperate for money, but she has a plan. Pamela Gourlay and Melanie Sturton live in the same apartment building in Aberdeen, Scotland, but they are very different young women. 22-year-old Melanie is a conscientious student looking forward to becoming a nurse. Pamela's life revolves around her drug habit and debt. The two neighbors barely know each other, but on the morning of October 9th, 1999, 20-year-old Pamela Gourlay gets ready for a visit.
She had money problems and she needed money. So whether in her drug-fueled state she decided to rob a neighbour, we'll never know. There's been no motive given for the crime. She dressed in black clothes, put on a sun hat and rubber gloves, took a boning knife that she presumably used for in her professional career.
It's not surprising to me that when someone is ready to kill or wants to kill, especially a young person, that they would kill someone near them. Pamela may have targeted Melanie for destruction because she thought she was easy prey.
Pamela who? Just Pamela from upstairs.
I knew she wouldn't have opened the door to anybody she didn't know.
Melanie tried to stop Pamela coming into her flat. Immediately she realised what was happening. She'd seen the knife in Pamela's hand and must have been absolutely terrified. Melanie had clearly struggled with wounds in her hand, which were typical of defensive wounds.
But Melanie can't defend herself from a razor-sharp chef's knife.
She also had injuries in her head, her face, stab wounds to her body.
Despite horrific injuries, Melanie manages to crawl to the doorway.
Melanie fought back. She had defense wounds. She was almost out the door. I think that may have escalated Pamela's fury. And she slit her throat.
Melanie was a lovely girl, just really getting started off in life, who would never have suspected a neighbour would commit such a brutal attack.
Melanie fought for her life, and she lost because she was fighting a monster.
With the murder complete, Pamela can't bear looking at her handiwork.
Pamela threw the cover over Melanie's body. Tells me she didn't want to see what she had done. She stepped over her a few times, so it didn't mean anything, but she covered her up because she didn't want to see her.
Pamela now goes about taking whatever she can find. Just a few dollars and a store gift voucher from Melanie's grandmother.
She stole all the stuff, which was nothing. It was pennies and stupid little things.
Everyone would like answers as to what the motive was for this horrendous murder, especially Melanie's mum. Perhaps it was just to try and get money for her next batch of drugs, but we'll never know what happened that night.
Pamela returns upstairs to hide the evidence.
Pamela was cool and calm after the murder. She would put the bloodstained clothing into bags, which she hid in the flat.
She then carries on with life like nothing's happened. She meets her mom and grandmother for a shopping spree.
How could you just go shopping and carry on? I mean, you couldn't. That is evil. It's just evil. And no remorse and no guilt. I mean, feel no guilt about it.
Pamela buys her grandmother a gift with the voucher she killed to get.
And she bought her granny a present with Melanie's granny's vouchers that she gave her for a present.
She spent some of the money that she stole from her murder victim. If Pamela were my child, I'd be rather frightened.
On vacation, Melanie's mom, Susan, keeps trying to call her daughter, but there's no answer.
I just knew something told her.
She insists that police break into Melanie's apartment. They find her body 3 days after the murder.
It was horrific. It was horrific. And I remember going into a fetal position and just screaming. And knowing I'd never, ever see her again.
The brutal murder horrifies the quiet community, but within days, they'll be even more stunned. Police request DNA samples from Melanie's neighbors. Pamela agrees to give one. It will be her downfall. It matches samples at the crime scene. A search warrant for Pamela's apartment seals her fate.
They found hidden in bags the knife and the bloodstained clothing which had been used in the murder.
Pamela's not a natural-born criminal. She left evidence all over the place. She attacked someone who was very close proximity to her.
Pamela Gourlay is arrested and charged with the murder of Melanie Sturton.
I couldn't believe that it was somebody so young and in the same flat. Never even thought that it could be a young female that did that because it was so horrific.
Under police questioning, Pamela soon confesses, but doesn't say she's sorry.
Pamela Gourlay's never ever shown remorse or at the police, to me, to the trial, to nobody. Never ever explained why she did it.
There was nothing in Pamela's family background that would have pointed to the future, that she was going to become a vicious killer.
But there's one possibility.
When Pamela was a teenager, she started smoking marijuana. It can have a bad effect on teenagers. Their brains aren't formed, and it can alter the course of their life, especially if they do it very much. And that's what happened to Pamela.
Pamela Gourlay is found guilty of murder on March 9th, 2000, and sentenced to life with a minimum of 14 years.
It's not justice to me. I think she should never get out. Life should mean life.
Pamela is now on an early release program and leaves prison unguarded to work in a charity shop. Soon, Pamela is eligible for parole. For Susan Patrick, it means the nightmare starts all over again.
Because it's getting nearer and nearer, I feel awful. Really, really. It's like somebody reaches inside and twists and your breath just goes and you go, it's awful.
Pamela's going to be released someday. I wouldn't want her to be my neighbor.
These deadly women found their victims nearby. Malaya Griffin killed a neighbor because of the color of his skin.
I have had it with you. You need to pick up this stuff and move it.
Ellen Etheridge poisoned her stepchildren for their father's love. And Pamela Gourlay cared more for spare change than a life. All three didn't have to go far to kill. They were too close for comfort.